Hello, hello, hello. Hi, beautiful people, and welcome back to Gabby Reviews Live. I am Gabby, interior designer, and I have been reviewing Made by Design. Today we are on episode 10, and we are covering The Boss Lady. so, today I am um, going through research, and I've been documenting a whole bunch of different stuff today and pulling it for multiple projects that I'm working on right now. So, as I continue to do that, and as I've been doing that, I am going to do something special today. We are going to do episode 10 and then immediately do episode 11. We're going to do a super one today on the episode because hey, life does what it does, and you got to be prepared. So let's get started. I'm gonna watch this through. I'm gonna do what I've been doing. It's a live review while I'm watching it. I haven't seen it yet. This is my first time looking at it. I'll give you a recap, and then I'll do the same thing for the next episode. All right. If you're ready, let's get to it. All right. Play. Tell me something, boss lady. What this about, boss lady?
I ask a lot of questions. I ask questions because I need to understand things in depth.
Ooh, she asks a lot of questions.
And I think that that's what design is about. Asking the questions, providing the necessary solutions.
And do you know that's what I've been doing all day? Asking a whole bunch of questions to come up with the right solutions. Oh, but you got to start by asking the questions.
I've always been that little girl that liked colors. I've always liked to rearrange and arrange spaces. So I'll say that my journey started when I probably was about 7. I'm just fascinated with the idea of creating something out of nothing. So I studied building technology to understand how buildings work, to understand how buildings are pieced together.
Mm.
My name is Jacqueline, actually.
Jacqueline. You're
I
watching
think whatever I am doing
Jacqueline.
now is kind of innate, or is. I mean, I grew up always wanting to change the
Oh, that's
home
a beautiful
environment,
space.
like just change the layout, move the chair to one spot, relocate it to another spot tomorrow, change the fabric or something. So I've always been that child.
Oh, she started with
And
exploring
I
layouts.
think maybe we should go there. I'm not sure.
That's the way to
For
get
me,
your
I've
brain
always
going for
wanted to work,
design.
work in the built environment, whether as a builder, designer, an architect.
Mm-hmm.
How did I
Building
end up
design.
studying building technology? I think it all started when I was in school. So we had this course, building. It was actually called building technology, right? And before my set took the exams, all the other sets before us take the exams. Who took the exams just kind of flunked the exams. Like they're coming with passes and Fs and F9s, and nobody really made it. So when I got into school and I heard about that course, because you had to choose, you had like electives in your senior secondary. So,
Ooh.
because I'm always asking why, and because I always like a challenge, I decided to take it. So I had a choice to either do technical drawing or do building construction. It was building construction, and I said that I would do building construction. Matter of fact, my teachers, I remember, they tried to talk me out of it. They told me all the horror stories. I was like, nah, we'll do this one. So I remember we even had lessons in that. We were just choosing like fun places we could have. Long and short, I wrote the exam, and then I came out with a distinction in it. And so I said, started this journey. Let me move on to study building construction. And that's how I ended up in Unilife, studying building technology.
So building construction and technology and all that
So
comes.
after I did that,
It's a very
after
different way of
school,
looking
I
at it.
worked with Lagos State on the restoration project. At the time,
So
I was
she worked
working
with legal
with
state for restoration. So it's very
Ms.
interesting
Letitia Romero, at the time she
how all
was
these designers are getting
the special
started,
advisor to the governor in Tulsa.
and their big projects
So
always
I was
land
working
them
with
back
the
in Nigeria.
but I always wanted to work with just students. I think before that, before I started to work with Lagos State, I had gone into whilst I was waiting to get employed. I had done a lot of freelancing.
Okay, so she wasn't employed by the
That's why I
time she
ended up
signed up with
working
Lego
with
State. She was trying to. I
Lord
mean,
Alan
the
Davis, who's
the
now into
wall feature is
into
beautiful.
interiors and the interiors into architects. He tried to find me to make me come join the organization. I wouldn't lie, I was petrified because the question was, I studied building technology. How am I going to manage? And I remember him saying to me that, listen, you have what it takes, and it's about what you have to bring to the table, and we're willing to help you grow. And so I took it that time. After a year with Lagos State, I went into job school architects, did my interview, and I got employed. And they had to carve out a niche description because they couldn't say I was an architect because I studied building technology. And so I worked with them first year. I was doing a lot of remodeling of,
Mm.
spaces, um, refurbishment, and things like that.
So she's been doing a lot of
And
remodeling and
somehow I got
refurbishment.
into doing interiors. Now, before that time, whilst I was working with Lagos State, I'd gone and taken a course in interior architecture, some school in Ireland.
Okay, so she did take a course in interior architecture in Ireland
Certification. Well, after I joined them, I got the certification. And then I started to ask
and got
questions
a
about the
certification.
interior design arm of the business because it didn't exist. So I'd gone up to meet Alan and I said to him, I think we should do this. I think that every space we design should carry the persona of the owners. And because I don't see us doing that, we should spend time just doing that. Because for me, we as humans or people who work or
Mm.
human beings, we spend most
So
of our time
she
in
was
it.
able to
We need it to be
take
all right. If it's your home, you're going back to like
the
a home
certification that she got to
so it
go
kind
back
of needs
to
to
the firm that she was
suit
working
your
with
lifestyle. It needs
for
to
the state of
fit your
Lagos
heart. And
to
so that was important for me. And then even for offices,
incorporate an interior design
the
sector,
office
which
that
they
you
did
work
not
in
previously
has
have.
to have a
So that's
persona
pretty big.
so that it's constantly embedded in your own thinking and understanding how you work there. So we went on to create James Cubic interiors, got registered. So yeah, that's how I ended up taking it. That's how I got into it.
Mm.
Now, loving it. So 10 years, maybe 11 years, I've been with James Cubic.
So she's been
So in the
with the
fifth year,
same for 10
I
years
was actively working
or
with
11
James Cubic
years.
Interiors because it was already set up. And by the sixth, seventh year, I became a managing director. I had two directors
So she
before
became a
me.
managing director after 6 years.
Um, and
Beautiful
then
office space.
until 2 years after that, also, I became a managing partner of James Cubic Interiors. So I visualize a better version of myself. And I project what it is that I want to achieve in that time, right? And so I hold on to that vision and I live up to that. And that's what I do to kind of just measure where I'm at.
Mm.
So yeah, that's what it is.
So I'm trying to
I do have
attach
people who advise me,
with
people who I speak with,
I'm I'm
who
trying to attach to her.
support me
She's
as
very
well.
soft spoken, very soft spoken,
So the first
very
is
minimal in what she
God
shares.
is human, right? And the things that separate us, time and chance, our experiences, things I've exposed
She
to.
seems
Um, so I
introspective.
try to let that come through in how we design, with that understanding. Um, I also understand that the experiences we create shape us. So I try to bring that also into. It was a British Airways lounge. Jesus. I remember I was so scared. I remember the
She did
first
a
time I came to the
British
office
Airways
as
lounge.
gym student.
You see me throwing these glasses
I've
on
been
y'all.
watched that movie.
I'm over
Yeah.
here squinting.
So I was standing waiting
These are my upstairs
for a
glasses.
taxi or something. Or
Over
I
here
think
squinting, trying
I
to see
was
certain details.
hitching a ride to work. And I brought out my phone. I was trying to make a phone call. I think I was trying to find him or I was trying to call my husband now. Then we were still dating. And some guy just on the bike, this kid, took the phone out of my hands and just kept riding. And he stopped. So I just stood there, shocked, just looking at him. So anyway, I went to the office that morning and then told them the story about being robbed. And I was like, "What is about that? Wow. You must be shaken." Like, yes, yes. 2 seconds later, it's like, yeah, okay, so let's get on with it. So there's a project. The name of the project is da da da, and delivery time is in 6 months. You have to X Y Z. And I was thinking, what? I mean, I just got here. I don't even know who these guys are. I don't know who I'm working with. So he threw me to the deep end. Well, my first project was the British Airways Lounge now, and sadly, it hasn't been refurbished since then. But hopefully they will call us again soon. We're working on that.
Mm,
But yeah, that's my first project.
your favorite
All the
project.
projects I've worked on are my favorite
So,
projects.
all right, I had to check a
So
detail,
I'll talk about the one we're in
but
now.
there's so many
That
things that
actually,
she's looking at and looking
this is
towards.
one of my favorite projects. Um, why? Hmm. Because it brought about a different kind of challenge. So usually when we're designing for a project as big as this, in terms of doing the layout and things, it will take us about because we have to work hand in hand with the architects, um, who are James Q architects. Uh, it will take us about 2 or 3 months, um, and then thereafter we go out to tender, as, what you call stage two and what's it called NIA stages for. At the end of that stage, you're supposed to choose, do all the specification writing, and then choose a vendor who will execute the project. So up until that point, it takes you about 4 months, 5, 4 to 5 months. We were made to do all of that in 1 month. Yeah, because
Mm,
this project had practically been completed before they got us in.
they had to
Yeah,
pull
so
months of work into one
we
month.
wanted
Woof,
to. There wasn't an office of the future.
woof.
Because one thing I always say to my clients is this: when you're designing, you're not just designing for now; you're also designing for the next. Again, I always use 10 years because you have a set of people leave and you have a new set coming. As we design, we also remember that millennials are the next set of people that are becoming. Think about the things that they are exposed to, how they function, and what they understand, and not simply
I do love her
anything
thought
that's superficial.
process
So
about
that
designing. That you're
that's
not
all I did.
just designing for what's
And
right in front of you, but you're also
at the end
designing
of it all, for the
for the next
entire
generation
project,
and 10
we
years
just
from
did
now and how they're going to experience that same
yeah,
space.
we did
And I
construction.
100% can
So we
understand
saw
that.
all of the procedure, and we also did the installation. We were also supposed to do the environmental branding um, before the bank was water taken up by access fire. So yeah, this one was quite interesting. And I mean, we work hand in hand with James Stewart Architects. So whilst they were developing the scheme, um, we worked with them on it for some, just baseline specifications like the floor finishes and colors and things like that.
Mm.
But we didn't go into the intricacies of all the F&B items. So yeah, I think it kind of found us. You know, it's like some sort of marriage. Because the truth is, most
So
of the buildings that even the
they're
sister
showing some
company James Cubic
construction
Architects have
here
done
as
are
the
most
project
of
is
them.
midway.
Um, and we So we kind of found ourselves. And by the function of that, we as interiors kind of fell into that same thinking and working.
It's very nice, expansive, separation, change in texture,
We kind of found
and moving from this place to that,
it.
and
It's
how all that
something that
relates.
I kind of just decided over time because of where I kind of found myself and how I felt about it.
Mm, I
And
like that ceiling fixture.
I
I wonder
always
if it's
like
a
a good
light.
challenge. And sort of challenge or challenges each project presented. I thought it was a good thing for me, and I thought
The
that
design here
it would just
seems
make
to
me
lean more
better at
minimal
doing that one thing. So I just kind of kept at it. It wasn't
in
something I
composition.
decided that I was going to do
So the space
before I came
is
into
less
Nigeria.
decorated,
I
much
just
more
wanted to
minimal.
design for people and just create interiors that they could just connect with and could just make them better people. We live in a very interesting country with a lot of interesting things happening. So let me take it from the point of view of being female. Being female in the built environment can be tough because you then have to work as twice, sometimes three times as hard as the other. So that is interesting. Again, I like a good challenge. So that's interesting. Um, on the other hand, for what we do, they called they call it different names. There is interior decorator. Sometimes you have some clients who come and they're like, "Oh, we need an interior decorator," and I
Hmm.
find myself having to school them.
The explanation
Some
of
of them may
decorator
not
versus
know,
designer,
but
this doesn't
I
go
feel like
away.
I have the responsibility to help them understand what it is that we actually do. So you have interior decorators, interior designers. You have the architects who are also designers. Um, so there's that whole misunderstanding of roles and what it
Hmm.
is that each of those professions actually do. Um, that has been quite fulfilling because I find that a lot of Nigerians do not understand the difference between these different professions.
Hmm.
So, like,
That's,
there's
I mean,
sewing
that's not just
there's
Nigerians. That's of
graphic
most people.
design.
Most people don't
So
know
we
the
talk
difference
about getting
between a decorator,
designers,
a designer,
one
and
of
an
what we do is an
architect.
interior
All
decorator,
three are very
interior
different and
architect,
distinct in their
interior
own way.
designer. Do you understand? Um,
But
so
for the general
that's
person, that has
interesting.
to
Then
be
the
explained
other
because
thing
most don't know.
is the frustration of not having access to those things where those things that you can use to kind of make a project work. So I think basically I don't understand why we have to import so much. I mean, we're falling into that whole category of people who have to bring stuff in, knock down and things like that. Even deco items. I don't understand why why um why that's difficult. Um, I mean, we're playing our part to see what we can do to kind of change that narrative. Because I must confess to you, every time I travel and I'm having to source for things abroad, it burns my heart, you know. So that's a bit frustrating, and that's something I think that we should collectively look at and address. I think whether we
Mm.
have
So not
the
having the resources on
the
hand
creativity here, I think the answer is yes. Um, whether the
in terms of
creatives who should
offering
be
and
doing these
creativity,
things have the technical know-how,
that
um, maybe not. So the onus is on us to see to that, to try and improve, you know, our sector and improve the sort of
so
the
she
products
finds
that
the
we expect to
difficulties
use on the market.
in sourcing
Because what can
is
you
what
do
she's
when
talking
things are
about,
budget
and how
putting them in the right
being in
position?
Nigeria,
And I think that
people who have the
in a matter of
creativity, the technical
a couple of
knowledge
years,
the ability, the materials to create um, new and various types of furnishings and materials, it's not prevalent. And so the need to have to go outsource it from other locations as opposed to it being right where you are is very difficult and challenging for her.
Just learning and being patient with themselves. Um, and they're going to, again, like I said, I for one, compare myself to better version of myself. To be able to compete globally, um, they will need to um, be patient and just learn. Learn from people who have done it before them.
So
Learn
she's giving her
by
thoughts on
being true to what it is.
Nigeria or Nigerian design or African design, I guess I should say, and how it can compete on a global scale and what that takes, which is first a big thing to consider, and then a big thing to take on. And I agree that it's going to take time, and so patience is going to be necessary.
Understand, learn what it is that they actually do need. Merge it, marry it with what they say they want or might need, and present it to them, walk them through it, help them understand, and then come up with something that works for them. I fear that a lot of our designers just do a lot of copy and paste without understanding what it is that they're doing. That's the
Ooh,
problem solving.
a lot of designers choose to copy and paste instead of understanding what they're
Very
actually
sorry.
doing,
So for them
and
to just keep calm,
that happens.
learn, be patient with themselves,
That happens a
and
lot.
do better for themselves.
But isn't that related to something we were talking about in another episode?
There's so
It's a
many
similar
things. That's the
concept.
problem. I can't choose one thing. There are many
People tend
things that
to,
I would
after a while, create the same things instead of being the
do
standout. But
differently as
it
a
takes the
person
standout to
and
change
as part of
the
the
game.
industry. I will be a bit more patient. I will
It's a cycle.
be I will be a bit more fearless. Um, and I would yeah, those two things actually. So that's just focusing on yeah, be more patient with myself and be more fearless. Once I wake up, I pray. Actually, I pray. Um, and then sometimes I do some reading. Um, and then I do my exercise. Whilst I exercise, I go through my emails. Um, I'm not really a breakfast person. I don't really do breakfast, but I'm changing now. I promise you guys, I'm doing breakfast now. I mean, even if it's just tea and biscuits, and I just get on with it. But I'm really active. I like to be open about. So during the day, I'm working with my team to see what they're doing. Um,
What's
Sometimes
happening
I'm
during the
researching, but
day?
most of my time I'm in meetings,
During the day. Hey,
prospective
hey,
clients,
hey,
some of my
hey,
team
hey,
members,
hey.
um,
What's happening during the day?
clients who are, what do you call them? Clients who have live projects. Um, yeah, so that's it. I usually do not shut down early because I like a lot of quiet when I'm being creative. So my most creative times are the mornings when I do maybe reading or try to
I
understand
can
some of the
agree with
design
that.
concepts that they're
Creative
working
times in the morning.
and late
In the
evening.
morning.
So I'm not I don't have time to learn early, which is another bad habit. But I promise I'm changing. So sometimes I'm up till 12 and 1. Design
Oh,
just
I can't
keeps
do
me so
that.
lively for
I'm
me. I
asleep.
can't, I
Nine
can't,
o'clock.
I
My
can't, I
alarm goes
can't
off at
stop being
9
great. I
p.m.
sleep and dream of it. Um,
By
Now I'm
10:30, your
finding
girl out.
that you know
I
with
can't do
so much
midnight
time
and
on your
1 o'clock in
hands,
the
you have to
morning.
even when you try to rest. So I'm doing that and be more patient with myself. day in life with Jackie. Now, wake up 5, say my prayers, exercise, get on with it. Retire maybe 7. I don't stop working actually. Probably stop working 8ish.
I can't do
And
that. I
then
can't work all day.
try to take one day
I got a
off
life. I got a
from work.
family. I can't do that.
And I tend to just give some quality
All right. That's the end of the episode. Let me get you paused. Pause, pause. Not the next one yet. Not the next one yet. Okay. So this particular episode was a little challenging for me to watch because um, her voice was very soft. Her demeanor was very closed in. She did this, and she kind of just talked a little relaxed. It was kind of reserved, and so in that there were some things that stood out that I thought. Again, I was saying earlier that I thought she was very introspective, and I saw that towards the end, like that really kind of came out. But it was very difficult to connect um, with the moment, with the person, with the personality, because it didn't give off. Um, and it made me feel excited. It didn't, and that's okay. There's more to what she does than just making people feel excited. Her work speaks for itself, and I think her work looked really good. And as she um, does this with a firm that she's worked with for so long, I really can appreciate her design viewpoint, her aesthetic. It's more modern, more minimal to me. Um, Not so much laying around, very simple, everything clean lines, all that kind of stuff. So I get that. I'm with that. All good. And yeah, there isn't much to kind of glean from this. I do recognize the moments where she has to um, be an educator of sorts to be able to explain that she's not a decorator, she's a designer, which is something that I have gone through. Everybody that I know who's a designer has gone through. So it is an uphill battle for that kind of thing. But aside from that, it's yeah, it was pretty straight to the point. So I'm going to do a little mini break. So I'm going to share my screen for a sec. Okay. I'm going to share my little cute little screen. Look at this. This is a beautiful pin that I saw today. Take a look at this beautiful image, and I will be back in a sec. All right, all right, all right. Let's do this. Okay, I'm back. Let's get the second half of this thing going. There we go. So this one, episode 11 is titled The Artist. And this is the image that has been showing up. I can't say always, but has been showing up as the feature image for the entire show. So I'm interested to see what this guy's talking about. So let's do it. Push play. The artist. Mm, mm,
When I started designing sculptures with car parts, it was because I had a need to
Designing sculptures
take
with
care of
car
my first
parts.
own car. There was interest and there was a lot of questions to what I had done.
Oh, he like a
So the
Dapper Dan
aspect
kind of
of
guy.
creating these sculptures
He
was a
got his
little
hat
new
on.
because I was learning. I was trying to understand it. Now I have improved on it. I have taken it to a different level. For me, design was where I felt more comfortable in creating things. The need for things. I look at the needs and I want something unique. People who want unique things are the ones that I work for.
All right, full blown artist here. I think this is our first one. We had the
My
architect
name is Diseye Tantua.
who also
I'm an
did art.
artist, known as the artist. I'm an experimentalist, so they say. I
He's
take
an
from
experimental
designing
artist. He's
murals and
experiment
things like that.
artist. Is what he called
I grew
himself.
up in Port Harcourt City, and
I
I've
can't
lived here
pronounce where he
for a
grew
long
up.
time, experimenting with things like every other creative artist. So an artist once told me, always get into your studio, whether you want to paint or not.
Oh,
Inspiration comes
he
from
has
within.
like
So I'm
these
always looking for
stained
creative
glass.
outlet.
He
What
has
I've done
stained
is
glass window doors, stained glass
taking
doors.
different
It was so cool though. It was
little
colorful.
guy. So it's feeding time.
So he has a fish tank that was
And there are two tanks.
that's sitting
So this tank is
inside
to make sure
of
that
an
the
old truck
big ones are here,
bed.
the small ones are in my office downstairs.
Or the truck cab, not the bed, but the cab inside the window. Huh, that's interesting.
I studied fine and applied art at the River State College of Education in Delhi, which is now the Ignatius Ajuru University. And after studying fine and applied art, which was coupled with design, history, art history, and psychology and all, I had to come out of school unlearning myself and learning again, all again. And for me, design was where I felt more comfortable in, and that was what prompted my interest in
I'm
design,
popular today.
creating things. I'm eclectic in nature.
So
From
personal
music to
style,
art to
eclectic
graphic
is what he
design,
calls himself. I can't
I'm
disagree
like a
there.
sponge. I pick up things,
There's so many different,
learning. I'm still in the process of learning so much.
so many
So
different moments, so
for
many
me,
different pieces of
I just leave it.
inspiration. Old,
I'm
new,
I'm very
mixed, made,
limitless when it comes to that.
manufactured. It's it's vast.
When I started designing um, sculptures with car parts. It was because I had a need to take care of my father's old car, which when he died, it was one of the cars that he really liked. He had other cars, but I don't know why he loved the Benz. And my brothers never wanted the car anyway. So I picked up the car and I thought about it. Parking it in the garage wouldn't make any sense. So one day I saw a guy who had created a disc which he used as used from Range Rover parts, and I thought, oh, the Benz has a flat back, so that can work. My brothers thought I was mad, and I
Mm.
got a team together and I decided to create that desk. Everybody wanted the desk. Oh, when they come to my office, oh, I love this, I love this, I love this.
So he
So I
made.
used the remaining parts to create other things. I was so attached to it, I didn't want to sell it or give it out because it was actually my father's stuff. So I kept it for myself in my private office. And time went on.
So he
I
took his
took
father's old
everything of the
car,
furniture I had in the house and started
dissected it
making
basically,
furniture out of it.
and
So it
made it
became a functional sculpture.
into a desk.
And my exhibition I had in 2017, I had my paintings and I had the functional sculptures as well, all around. There was interest and there was a lot of questions to what I had done. And for me, that first time creating these sculptures was a bit heavy because I was learning. I was trying to understand it. So now I have improved on it. I have taken it to a different level altogether.
So he's
So
expanding
when I
it.
started doing the functional sculptures, I
There
had a lot
really
of
are.
clients who
They're
were
all
doing the
attached to
same as well, and
cars.
they
It
were
looks
like,
like it's
"Oh, I'd
his
like to
thing
do
now,
something special in my
artistically
space."
speaking.
So I had like a
So
few
it may
restaurants that I
migrate
had
later.
created, and what I did to those spaces, like one of them, which was very interesting, was I got a bus, cut the bus, and made it into a bar. And another one, I got a canoe, and chopped it up, and made it into a seat. So things like that were interesting for me. There was also another one I created a bar out of the beds from beds parts. So each time people walk into these restaurants and they see that, oh wow, what's this? They now start realizing that it's a car, it's from car parts, They are tripped and they are moved to it to go take pictures, stand by it. And the
Hmm.
clients are always happy when it comes to that. First thing was way back in 2000. I created the first one for my studio when I
Hmm.
was still in town. I created it as my entrance door. And the remaining part of the stained glass is part of the
Okay, so
house.
he does do the
And if
stained
you pass
glass
into
thing.
the garden, I use the same glass there. So that glass is actually how many years old? So for me, it's an experience that I have tested
Entry
the
door,
materials used to do
patio
stained glass
door.
and it worked
It's
perfectly.
really
So my
cool.
living room, I don't have curtains in my living room. I have stained glass everywhere in the living room. I have a sunroom as well, where the light, comes in and just throws color all over the space. It's
It
an
does
interesting
throw
space in
color.
the morning
Now,
for
as
me.
much as I like it,
For me,
he
it's
has
where
it
I
in too
first
many
start
spaces for me
meditation.
personally because
So
it
stained glass
starts to blend
is
in a
something
different
that I
way, and then you get
enjoy
the
doing.
mix of
I don't
colors,
go
and then
to
they start
restaurants or spaces,
to
but
bounce.
I do it for myself because I don't believe in having curtains in living rooms. I like the open air French air style design for windows. For me, when it comes to stained glass, I don't
And
design
I
my
like
stained
being able
glass
to look
to
outside
be
and to
close to
see outside
so to
without the
speak. I
interruption of
create my
things.
stained glass
So for
to
me, it
look
wouldn't
very
work
African,
as
very
much as he's
African,
put it in his
our
space, but I
motifs,
do love
design,
them.
ideas, mythologies, all in that art. I create the stained glass for you to enjoy in a normal house. It doesn't have to be in the church. So for me, that is why I love creating stained glass because I'm open to create my own designs on the glass.
He really has like pieces of cars just everywhere. His
So this
sofa,
space called the Artist Shrine was
motorbike,
designed by myself and a friend of mine who's called Joseph Conte.
called the Artist
He's
Shrine.
an architect, and we came up with a design using my garage as a space where artists can actually come here and have talks. We
So
have
he created this space with an
poetry
architect
and
friend
drama and all
to have
sorts
a
of things, just to
specialized,
encourage creatives
a,
who
a
stay in
gentleman's
River
room,
State.
basically,
A lot of them
of
who
artists
stay in River State are
to
always
discuss and
looking for a space
to
where they
sit
can
and relax and
meet
to
other
talk.
creatives. So for me, this was very important, like a big pack. Being an artist, it's not easy for me to, you know, look at somebody and say, this is somebody I would like to emulate. So for me, I have to be that person by, encouraging other younger artists. So we have the stained glass design in front, and it is designed in a way that the air comes in from here, goes out, cross ventilation.
So the stained
We have
glass and
sculptures by
the
artists who
cars.
are based in Lagos and are friends of mine. Fidelis Odogu, we have Collins here. And every piece here has a story to tell, from the car that is designed here, from a full car making you seat 20 people. You have the wall, the Fela wall, says it's my own shrine. Then up here, we have where those who bought,
It's very intriguing. It's
we have a seat, we have
he has a
seating.
loft area with seating
So if you
inside of a
can really
car.
accommodate two people,
It's
you can have two
everywhere.
people on the seat. They can watch what is happening while they smoke, because
It's definitely
it's
artistic.
appreciated. So for me, it's
It's
important
for a
to put it here.
specific
So all the lights were done
type of artist or a
in
specific
front.
type of creative.
And we have sculptures
Has a
by
very
some
distinct
other renowned artists
distinct
inside the
voice.
water. Most of the things you find here are by different artists. So I created the keke in a way that people are comfortable to sit in. Here actually holds four people. You have two here, and they have their table where they will eat.
So there's a lot of seating that is just
So that's the way it is.
around this space. It is
And
his
we have a
garage. He
storage area.
uses his garage.
You can keep your drinks. So over here, when they come, you bring drinks, you keep them in here and store it. So for some cities, they have
He got
some
space for
cities
your
you
drinks.
can decide where you want to sit,
It's
which is
there. He
actually a
got the
stage.
room.
So when we have a gig, we bring out the mic and whoever is talking
They have a
engages the
mic
crowd here.
set up. So it's a chatting space.
The market is where we are sitting in right now. I hardly go out. I spend more time inside. I'm a socialite, yes. I socialize a lot, but when I'm home, when I'm in Port Harcourt, I spend more time in my cave. So this space is my cave.
Okay, so this helps me understand
This
him a
is
little
where I
bit
keep
better.
all the
So
content that I have,
he's
all the
a
information
socialite. I
that
don't know if it's just simply
all of the
self-proclaimed
art
or if that's
and
how other
images
people
and all
described him
the
as well. I
content
wouldn't know.
are kept in this
But
space. Then I also have more art
so he's a socialite, so you
that
can see his kind of style come out and all that kind of stuff. And then, but he's saying when he's not out, the his space is like his sanctuary of sorts,
it is
and
just
so
like
it explains
I don't see my furniture as furniture. I see
why
it as
it's
space.
so
But it's
important for
easier said
him
as
to
furniture because
surround
it's easier
himself
for
with
me
his
to
own artistic
create and to
thought,
implement
his own artistic
because
style,
from
so
the
that he's
starting of the
constantly
sculptures,
in the
all
moment
about
to be able
the
to
interest that people
reflect
want
and
from art.
enjoy
So
all
that
those
was why
things.
I came
I
up
get
with
that.
this sculpture. Then as Rodrigo, I said before, is someone I respect. He's a mentor to me. He's someone that I look up to and I seek advice from time to time. I celebrated him with an exhibition where I had chairs. He does furniture as well besides being an architect. So I had his chairs which I painted over, painted atop his chairs different things. I had portraits of
Mm.
renowned writers and you know
So he
legends
has
in
a set of
literature
chairs
beside them.
that on the
And
backs is pretty
that is one
cool.
of the chairs
Have different
that one day I exhibited it in Lagos and it has been
artists
coming
or
to the exhibition. And for me,
creatives on
collaboration is one
them.
of the most interesting things I have done
I think that's pretty
in this
cool.
life. And I'm grateful that he gave me
It
the
it
opportunity
honors
to
them and the
exhibit
people that he looks up to or the people who
and
inspire him.
it was interesting. It was an interesting journey.
I mean, there's just so many cars. There's cars, there's
This one
motorcycles,
was a collaboration with
mini
Joseph Conte,
buses,
who is an architect.
other vehicles that I
He
don't
is
know the
also
name of, but you
graduated
see them
recently from
in
civil law, but he came to
places
study
that
under
have like
Thomas Walcott
tighter
because
spaces, like
Thomas
villages
Walcott
who have tighter,
architecture
I
is
guess, streets.
since he spends more time looking at architecture from a traditional point of view, it makes it more interesting for us to accept and adopt. We had Joseph Conte who came to understudy him, and he was also my friend because we met there and I told him
Mm.
about different things, projects I was doing, and he was interested and decided to work with me. And we pulled off that, and I'm very happy with that space. I collaborate with many other people, not just architects and artists, but different people, just to get my design because I'm learning in the process. I won't say the best object because it's actually a space. The shrine is one of the spaces that for me is I have an attachment to because I had a need to create a space like that. And for
Mm.
me, coming up with that design with an architect called
It's
Joseph
beautiful
Conte,
at night, the stained
we came up
glass.
with a design that was suitable for the
I get,
little
is it
space we
at the
had.
back of the
It was
house?
an interesting experience to create things like that, you know, for that space. So the space altogether was art. Like I said, I don't have a favorite design. I There is no end to what we do as experimentalists. We keep trying new things. At different points, there's something new. There's something new. There's always something new, and the new one is the favorite. The new one is the favorite. There's no end to it. For now, the most interesting one is a pew. I got a church pew. I got a set of it, but I sent one to a friend of mine who is an artist. He's a sculptor as well. He came at the club and I said to him, I'm giving you free hand to create something. Tell me a story. That's what I put. I said, tell me a story. Something interesting on this pew.
Okay. So we took a
So
pew,
what he
gave
did
it
here
to a
was
friend who
he built
carved
the
into it.
shrine. Our own
Beautiful.
ways of doing things from the Manila to the cowries. Then you have sunshine, as he says. You have a bottle of gin, the cake. Then we have the Oima here, which was a
It's a
sculpture that was
beautiful
done by
look.
Professor Alabi, DJ Alabi. And we also have the touch roofs here. Then he
So,
also
okay, so he's
painted
also
the
displaying other
manhole,
people's
the head
art
of the
here.
Niger Delta, which he calls the
So,
male organs, which
which
are
is really great.
represented here into the manhole. Then you have the October mask. Glad I people. This is still in a museum in Switzerland. So he talks about the ships. Look at the ships of the early Europeans who came into Africa. They brought in the slave trade. They found humans as ways of making money. And that's what the chains all here represent. And here, even when they brought in
So
the
it's
church, through the church, they were able to do what they came here to do by getting people and you know our chiefs also helped them in some ways.
okay. So it goes through Mandela, goes through the slave trade, it talks about the
One of my
change, it talks
boutiques
about
here,
how the missionaries were
which I
part of
visited,
it.
I found these boats, and for me, it was always interesting finding boats with the write-ups on them. But this particular one I found had Isaiah, a passage from the Isaiah in the Bible. And my father's first name was Isaiah, so for me to immortalize him, I decided to buy that boat. I cut it in bits and came with it to Nigeria. So the parts of the boat is what you find here and on the chair. I created the swing with it, and I created a table with
All
it
right, so
as
he had
well.
another boat that he
So for
found.
me, it's a very special piece. It also has underneath the sewing machine legs, which acts as the legs for it, in blue and red. So this dining set also is an interesting space for me. My daughter is what we call precious. The name is her name. The name means my own in the Jaw language. She's very handsome. She's restless.
Oh,
That's where we
that's
say, where did she
cute.
get it from? Let me be hiding my head. She's very interesting. I
That's
live my
cute.
life through her again because
He has all these different
she's
pictures
lucky
and portraits of
that
his daughter that he's created. That's
I have the
beautiful.
time. You know, I'm what you say a house husband. So I spend more time at home and spend more time with my daughter. We have we have you know relationship where we are very free. She thinks I am 6 years old and she's five, or when she's five, when she's six, I'm seven. So we play a lot. That's how we been. We go out together, we play together.
And so he's afforded
You
himself
see
the
her
ability
beg
to
for
do
something,
his
I have
work
to give
but
it.
still be at home with his daughter and spend a lot of time with his daughter. Self-proclaimed house husband.
Um, um, Open sesame.
It must be fun though, because it's almost like a treehouse that he's created. It's so fun for a kid. It's not almost a
You
treehouse.
like it?
He does have a treehouse.
You like it?
That's
Look
beautiful.
what in front. The painting in front. So you know the room is closed on. Eh? Need. The need for things. I look at the needs and I want something unique. People who want unique things are the ones that I work for. I'm interested in doing something that is outstanding. I
Mm.
want something that is functional, outstanding, and to wow me. The most interesting person to me who has been a mentor is Demasmoko. Demasmoko has been a father, he has been an inspiration for me when it comes to design. I have collaborated with him on
So
his
he's
kitchen designs.
also
I created
paying
art
homage to the
for his
people
chairs.
who have mentored him and
We've been
inspired
very
him,
close
which I think
ever
is really
since.
great.
The interest is there. People love what I do. It's a little bit expensive playing with things like this because it's not cheap buying the cars and cutting them and doing things with them.
It was definitely not cheap to do
That's
this.
why, as an experimentalist, we will say we are always broke. We end up spending all we make on new inventions, new designs, new ideas, trying to better ideas, trying to better design.
So he's kind of the
Yeah,
quintessential broke artist
everything.
because in
Like I
order to
said,
create the art, he has to constantly put
model
the money
for
that he makes from the art
international
back into new art,
even though I'm an artist,
which
I'm
is
not
what he calls the
artist.
experimentalist.
Being an artist, being a painter is one part of it. Being a sculptor is one part of it. Being a designer is one part of it. I wake up in the morning, I go to the studio, pass through from my bedroom, sitting room, check on my daughter, like, she's very restless. Then I go to the studio, I spend more time in the studio. Sometimes I could work, make a painting or something, or do some drawings, or I don't do anything at all. But I walk into the private office where I have some to take some song and meditate. You know, it's very important to meditate. So first thing in the morning for me, I get that song, also meditate in song, feed the fish. I have two tanks upstairs and caves. Make sure that I don't kill them. So I go see them. You know, spend some time in the tree house with my daughter. It's a point I do every day. Pretty much my day is done.
That it? Okay, that's it. Let me come back. That's it. Hold on, I need to pause. Pause it. Okay, so what I've gathered, what I've learned from this episode is there was a lot. There was a lot. There was a lot to look at. There was a lot in a space. There was a lot. It was like um, art and artistic expression and all the things, but also a level of maximalism, which kind of, it's so funny that I just said that in the previous episode, I felt like it was very minimalist. And here's this episode, I feel like everything's maximalist. Like everything's there. All the ideas, all the thoughts, all the inspiration, everything's there. And so it was a lot to process. It was a lot to work through. I thought um, he does work with cars, and that was extremely prevalent in every single room, in every single space, indoor and outdoor. He's showcasing his own home, really, but in every single space is some kind of piece of a car in the seating, in the beds, in the desk. It it's there. It's present. There's no doubt about it. And then the other standout was the stained glass. Um, Now he reconfigured that into his patio doors, into the windows of his front doors, and he put it in his living room. And again, I don't like it that much for me personally because I do like natural light. Um, as you see it, I like the clarity of it, and I like being able to look out without obstruction or changing that, and that includes color. However, I still appreciated the beauty that it was. Um, and then there was other art that was featured, but you could tell that he's constantly working, and he calls himself not the, but an experiential artist. So I could see that because he's constantly working with new pieces. There were no empty spaces. There was stuff. There was plenty of stuff. So I don't think he lacks any kind of inspiration. I think that he works very hard at what he does, and I appreciate his artistic expression. Um, so yeah, that's it for today. So we did again 2 episodes. I hope you enjoyed them. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you know the next time there's a video available. And I will see you next time. Okay? Sound good? All right.